husband, Henry, has been dedicated to his wife, Rebecca, for 19 years, and as a father, he has given his heart and soul to raising his 5 beautiful children. In 2008, out of more than 30,000 initial participants from around the world, Henry was one of the final 10 to compete for the World Championship of Public Speaking, which was held in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. His title today is Bored to Death. This is a speech out of the Competent Communicator Manuals, number 10. Its purpose is to inspire you to do something. So that's what we'll be looking for, and that's what the evaluator will be looking for in that speech. And that you'll hear some feedback later on from the evaluator on how well he did at inspiring you. But I would encourage each of you to think about the speech. How well did it inspire you? Did it cause you to think about something, to do something different? So please help me welcome your speaker today, Henry Flowers.
What in the world is a Toastmaster? How many of you walked in here with that question today? Be totally honest. Don't feel bad. I had the same question more than 7 years ago. What in the world is a Toastmaster? See, for me, it sounded like a bunch of guys who think they all that sitting around making toast and getting drunk. Which didn't sound like a bad idea at the time, because I was working at Verizon Wireless and I had been there for quite a few times. And you know, when you're working with the public and you're doing something as sensitive as helping them with their cell phone bills, yes, Lord, you enjoy an alcoholic beverage every now and then, especially after work, to loosen up. And so the idea of a Toastmaster really intrigued me, because I could use a few toasts after work. But I heard about Toastmasters because while I had been on that job, and it was just frustrating, the #1 store in the Southeast, more customers came in and out of that store than any other store in the Southeast. And most of the customers who came in that store asked for me. Yes, Lord. Every time on the job, I was blown over with the man. Is Henry here? No, he's not here, but I'm the manager. Can I help you? Oh, no, thanks. I will wait for Henry. 50, 60, 70 hours a week toiling. That's a great job, and most people love their job, but I didn't love my job. I knew there was something on the inside of me that kept me awake at night, and it was not gas. There was something that I knew that I was called to do. When you know that there's something in your life that you're called to do, you will not rest, you will not sleep, and you will mostly be bored to death with your life until you get about that calling. And that's where I was, bored to death at the #1 store in the Southeast. And so after I used this gift that I have of speaking, because there was a sales meeting and the salespeople began to blame the customer service reps on the problems, and the customer service reps were blaming the service technicians on the problems, and the service technicians began to blame the call center technicians on the problem, and everybody was playing the blame game. It's the #1 game in town. Forget about what you heard about baseball. The blame game is the #1 game in town. And it was going on, and I simply got fed up. And I could stand no more. And finally, so I crawled out from behind my desk and I stood in the middle of the floor and I shared some choice words with everybody. Believe it or not, I kept my job after that. I had my job. But the bottom line was, I said something that was on my heart, and I said, listen, ladies and gentlemen, forget about what you heard. It's not about what you think should be done. The bottom line is, we need to satisfy the customer. That was the bottom line. And I took a stand on it because I got tired of too many people not remembering what the bottom line was. And after that speech that almost cost me my job, a fella pulled me to the back. He said, Henry, hey man, you ever thought about being a public speaker, man? You really got a gift, man. You should join Toastmasters. And I said, what is a Toastmaster? And so he gave me the CD of this guy who was a professional speaker. And this guy, he was from Ghana, West Africa, so he talked like this. And he talked about the World Championship of Public Speaking, and it was in Chicago. And he went on and on. I said, oh yeah, World Championship of Public Speaking, yeah. And I saw Toastmasters as a way for me to get from where I was to where I wanted to be in life, because I knew that calling was there. I knew I had the ability to communicate with people and encourage them and inspire them to move from being bored to death, which is not just a teenage problem. Trust me, I have 5 teenagers, and I know that that is a problem among our teenagers. They spend too much time being bored to death, and most of us do. We are not satisfied with our jobs like we really want to be. And so I wanted to encourage people how to move from being bored to death to living that life. What is that life? That life that you say you love? That life that you would be living if you knew you couldn't fail? If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do? If you're living the life that you love, what would you be doing? How many of you will be clocking in and out of this place every day? I hope your manager's not here. Don't worry about it. You won't lose your job. So I wanted to encourage people towards that. And so I began to look at Toastmasters. I joined Toastmasters and met some great people like Mr. Ned Wallace, who quickly became a friend of mine and helped me overcome any kind of fear of public speaking that I might have had. And I talked to him about this World Championship of Public Speaking, and he said, hey, Henry, you know, it's a great opportunity. Toastmasters is a world-renowned organization. You really should go after it. And despite my fears, I said, let me stay in Toastmasters for a little while. Let me learn a little bit, and then maybe I'll get in there and I'll take off, and then we'll see after that. Give me a couple of years. He said, go ahead. You know how you get voluntold? Has anybody ever been voluntold to do everything? Yes. I got voluntold to compete in 2008 for the World Championship of Public Speaking after only being in Toastmasters for, at that time, which was about 12 months. And before I knew it, I won my club because I was the only speaker at my club. And then I won my division, and then I won the area, and then I won district, and then I won the semifinals, and before I knew it, I was on my way to Calgary, Alberta, Canada, folks, to the World Championship of Public Speaking. It was absolutely incredible. The Canadian Mounted Police, the parade of flags, and before I knew it, the contest was over, and I didn't win, but what did I accomplish? I accomplished making my mark in Toastmasters history. So no matter how long the years go by, if you look up the 2008 World Championship of Public Speaking, you'll see speaker number 8, Henry Flowers. Folks, it helped me live the life that I've always wanted. So it was about getting past my fears, but not just overcoming my fear for the sake of overcoming a fear. It was about the why. Why should you overcome your fear of anything? There's got to be something on the other side of your fear that makes you get up at night. That makes you get up the next morning. That makes you clock in when you don't want to clock in. That makes you help the next customer when you'd rather run out and take your lunch break. I did that many times, so I know. There's something on the other side. And there's a voice inside of each and every one of you. And Toastmasters International is where you can find your voice. It's an organization where people can help you. People can help you increase your leadership and your communication skills. And you can begin to live the life that you want. And possibly you can overcome many fears, as I did, about writing a book. I said, no one wants to hear what I had to say. Oh, you know what? They actually do. So I put it in a book. And this is what I do. I encourage people that there's a life that you want to live that's greater than the life that you're living right now. And I encourage you to do it. And you can do it through Toastmasters. Because here's the mission of a Toastmasters Club, is to provide a mutually supportive and positive learning environment in which every member has the opportunity to develop communication and leadership skills, which in turn foster confidence and personal growth. And that, my friends, is how you go from being bored to death to living that life. Thank you.
Thank you, Henry. Well, now, before you all get kind of excited and say, well, okay, I'd never be able to do that. Well, we don't expect you to do that. You know, we wanted to show